Hola, I am playing GTA. Just finished my Starbucks coffee, had a honey bun. I just recorded a really good video. I didn't record a really good video. I was kind of disorganized with how I was presenting some of my ideas. And then my storage ran out, so it was actually really convenient because if I had not done that, I would not have made the effort to start another video and re-record my ideas so that I was more organized and presentable. However, now my fear is that I'm gonna miss something, but then again, I didn't get everything in the last video, so don't really need to worry about that. I was talking about subjective significance and how we as people, how we as individuals tend to apply our own personal significance to the objects around us. How we give meaning to things that aren't objectively there based on our own personal experience, desire, whatever it is that makes us us and not everybody else. We're giving things our own meaning because of that. And how one can put themselves in a dangerous mindset whenever not recognizing that the way they're perceiving life is nothing but a subjective significance that they've applied to the things around them. The way that they think things work is a product of the meaning that they've applied to everything. Hold on. I'm playing GTA right now, so I'm gonna try and balance playing this mission I'm about to do and speaking to the camera, which I think is gonna help me. Honestly, I think it's gonna help distract me so that I don't overstep myself. But oh, I just glitched. Okay, my car got destroyed. Pretty much. I had a couple of good examples that I stated in the last video.
MMI, we expect the unexpected.
And I feel like
Okay.
I'm really glad that the last video I had to delete it because quite frankly they were a bit, I'm all for discussing things. I'm all for speaking about topics, but what I would never want to do is bring something that I personally fear is a threat to is a threat for hysteria. Not hysteria, however you say that. Something that if other people could not find an explanation for it themselves, it could really fuck up their behavior and perception of life. And, I'm somebody who's I've seen a lot of shit. And as much as I've been affected by things, there are some things that kind of just don't faze me. And so when it gets to a point where there's an idea, especially when it comes to existence and evolution and animals and what could be happening, and it starts messing with my head, I've learned that that's usually when I should stop talking out loud. Because, that's gotten me expelled from a couple of friend groups, whenever I started saying shit that other people weren't ready to hear. I remember there was a time where, I don't need to go too far into it, but I do believe that it's important not to force people to, think about things that they don't really need to think about either way, but once they start thinking about it, they kind of need an explanation for it going forward. I think it's important not to force that on people. However, I do think that there are some ideas that are worth explaining because, if I weren't able to disassociate myself from my own thoughts, there would be some forms of thinking that I can see in myself that if I would not myself consciously make the effort to stop them from developing, they would have terrible effects on my life and how I saw others and how I treated others. And it's something that I want to kind of make sure it doesn't develop in anyone else. like ideas like witchcraft, and I'm gonna get into it, but pretty much the whole principle behind what I'm trying to discuss it right now is there are some things that we're never gonna know. There are some things that not even in our lifetime, as a species, as a thing that exists, that we're just never gonna know. If existence itself was conscious, it itself would have some things that it would just never know. Oh, I guess I'm gonna have to fight this mission. So, a really important point in the last video I touched across was incapability, and how I found myself afraid of my own incapabilities because I believed, or I feared that, in an isolated way, that I was the only one that was as incapable as I am of doing certain things. And I think this is a pretty natural fear to have as far as like existing as yourself. The idea that you're the only one that doesn't understand something basic that everybody else does. And the way I've explained this fear away was just by measuring the incapability of the universe. The universe itself has not been capable of performing or has not been capable of every concept imaginable by man. It has not itself been able to do everything that us in our limited state, us in our limited comprehension of things, the universe itself has not been capable of everything that we could think of. And evidence of that incapability in the universe is somewhat of a reassurance of basic incapabilities in life. Basic incapabilities that are only incapabilities in the context where people are capable of them, but in the context where nobody's capable of them, it's just how it is. Like it's not an incapability. It's more so just a structure of living. I can't just think a thought and have the whole community understand my feelings right away. I have to communicate with them. That in itself is an incapability, but that also is a gift. It's also every thought I have, because people do have reactions. It protects me from having to deal with people, thought policing. 1984, George Orwell. If people could read your minds all the time and none of us understood where thoughts came from and why we had them, you know how much of us would be fucking being like killed every day just because we had a thought for a second? Like that would be terrifying. So the fact that we need to communicate is a bit of a burden, but it's also a gift because it prevents others from constantly being able to react to us in moments where we're not fully able to react to ourselves. What was another idea? Here's another idea. I have money now. I did not have money. Oh, I guess I have to pay the mechanic at the end of the day. That sucks. Here's another idea. I could just go further in the human capability. The fact that humans are not capable of everything is a good thing. If we were capable of everything, life would literally just be chaos. But then again, we'd all be capable of understanding one another. Which, if we're not capable of, if we're not all capable of understanding one another on the spot, then I feel like the idea that there are humans out there that just have this godlike ability compared to everybody else is a bit insane. Because it's like, that's something that not only could it never be proven, it's intangible. Like it doesn't make sense if you just measure your own capabilities right away and the capabilities of the people that you're around. Unless somebody's putting on this big show and pretending to be incapable for no reason, which why would anybody do that? Everyone would want to create and foster the opportunities for their own success. Reducing your capability to fit in would just screw you over in the long run. So, where am I supposed to be going right now? Oh, I'm gonna crash. Okay. I had this theory. Oh, this is a really good opportunity. So I had this theory that somehow everything that you're doing is related to this giant context, to this one giant context. Like, in a way, I've noticed there have been times where, when dealing with or thinking about a conflict, I just happen to come across a TV show with an episode that indirectly addressed the conflict. that indirectly kind of helped me understand both sides of the conflict better. And when I first started really picking up on that, I was freaked out. I was like, all right, well, what are the odds? What are the odds that this very thing that I'm dealing with would be on a show that I'm watching this night? Like, what would happen? What are the odds that that would occur? That freaked me out. Because as much as I'm all for a world that makes life easy and gives you answers when you don't have them, I'm also like, hey, explain that one to me. What is this? What am I supposed to be doing here? Okay. So like the fact that I'm playing a video game and I'm not entirely sure what I'm supposed to be doing, I could relate to the fact that I'm also trying to say something that I'm not exactly sure how to say. And the fact that those ideas are similar does not necessarily mean that they're related. I mean, there's still two separate moments. I mean, this video game and what I'm talking about, this video game was not made so that I could have this conversation with my iPad. The video game is still going to be the video game itself. So any correlation I find between myself and the video game, like any correlation I find between the task I'm performing with this iPad and the task I'm performing in the video game, is simply that of the fact that I have to perform a task. And anything else would just be as simple as the fact that I have to perform a task. Am I supposed to be looking in lockers or something? Locate the power breaker. Is this the power breaker? Okay. Am I supposed to shoot this? What am I supposed to do? It says it's right here. I'm so lost. The power breaker's, it's right here. I'm so confused. Now I'm stuck behind the door. Okay. I guess there were some other points that I need to get across. I am getting a bit distracted, but also I formulated my ideas a lot better than I did before. Maybe it's correlation and not causation. Perhaps because I made the last video, I'm just a lot more prepared to state what's on my mind. But I do think that that's something that I've dealt with personally, is the idea that everything is related, that everything that's happening right now is all a part of the same giant context. And when it's not, it really isn't. I mean, there are so many contexts that it can be overwhelming. However, I feel like we're designed to handle an existence of being in a bunch of different contexts. Now, that doesn't mean that we're always going to be perfect at handling it, that it's not going to get confusing at sometimes. But I feel like our brains our brains are capable of functioning in the state of being in a bunch of different contexts at once, or else we wouldn't be able to have relationships, not romantic relationships, but just we wouldn't be able to remember who we are compared to others, if we can only remember one context at a time. I can acknowledge that I have a romantic relationship with this person, and that I have a friendship with this person, that this person is my boss, and that person is my mother, and this person is my brother. I can do all that at once, without being overwhelmed. So I think we're fully capable of existing and separating all the contexts that we exist in. What I think may have messed me up, and I hate having to admit this because it really sucks, honestly, but I smoked weed for a while, and that just confused the fuck out of me. It kind of helped me realize how mortal I am, which was a fun thing to go through. That was a fun thing to go through. That was such a fun journey I went through. But it also confused me because it means that there were moments where things were occurring while I was in such a high state of confusion that I thought that I tried to make sense of anyway. I gave significance and I gave meaning. When really, it was a bunch of distorted nonsense. But because I had gotten so high and diluted my thinking function so much, I kind of removed my ability to kind of disassociate from myself. I kind of removed my ability to remember that my ideas were just ideas and not who I was. That my thoughts were just thoughts and not who I am. And so I've been looking for this power breaker for like 5 fucking minutes. I don't know where it is. Am I just supposed to shoot everything? I don't understand this. Okay, maybe I'm supposed to... Oh, it was right there. I just need to go up to it. God. That's how simple life is sometimes, huh? It's right there. You just need to go up to it. That sucks. Huh. Alright. This is a fuse right here. No. I'm doing a freaking prop hunt mission. Whoa, I hear something. Okay, you guys can't see what I'm doing, so this must be